St. Catherine's Monastery here in Sinai is a stunning location. It is at the foot of Mount Horeb, Mount Sinai, or at least in the tradition, and is also a very isolated place. So security has always been an issue ever since it was built in the 7th century. Over the years, it has seen wars go back and forth. It's seen different people in charge, and of course at times there are bandits in the countryside. And so these very high walls here are very important. Security is very important. At different times they've even had special relationships. So when Muhammad came into this area, there is a certificate, an agreement between Islam and the monastery that this would be a place of safety. Later on, when Napoleon and his armies are rolling through, there's another certificate to say this place is protected. And yet protection comes from more than certificates, and so the very high walls, even today, if you want to go inside the monastery, you're not going to go through a big gate. You're going to go through a doorway that you have to bend down to get through. You have to go around a corner and another corner before you're inside, so it makes it easier to protect. Part of the security of these high walls is actually that box that you can see on the wall. Because in times of danger, in times when there's bandits outside and it's unsafe, they're not going to open even a small door for you to come in. And so the way you would get into this monastery in times of old was they would lower a basket down on a rope, you would step into it, inside the monastery there is a winch and they will winch it up, you'll go up there and you will be safe and secure. Even for the tourist, the government is very conscious that they want people to be safe. And so when you're coming here, you will go through security checkpoints because they say, and the policemen that we talked with, when you come into St. Catherine's, you want to be able to worship God in security. You don't want to worry that something's going to happen, but you can be here and you can meditate and think and pray, and it can be a very special experience for you. As it is for the Greek Orthodox monks that live here and have lived here through the centuries, they've come to this place as a place of retreat, a place where they back off from the world in a sense, where they like quietness and solitude, but also where they provide an atmosphere where pilgrims can come, where pilgrims are welcomed and can worship and be part of their community, maybe just for a day or two. Some stay maybe for several months at a time, but the isolation of this place gives them the space to be able to connect with God, and maybe connect even in the sense that this is the mountain where God gave the 10 Commandments. This is the mountain where Elijah hid and the presence of God passed through in various ways, but finally in the still small voice. Security is something important for all of us. It was important for the Israelites even when the law was being given. When you look in the book of Leviticus, God makes a very special promise in Leviticus chapter 26. He says, "You're not to make worthless idols, images or pillars for yourselves, nor set up for yourself carved images to bow down in the land, because I am the Lord your God." And he promises, keep my Sabbaths and fear my sanctuary, and I will bless you. He's saying, don't worry about those gods that you left behind when you left Pharaoh. Recognize that I am the true supreme God. And if you live by my statutes, obey my commands and observe them, I'll send you rain in its season, so that your land will yield its produce and the trees of the field will give their fruit. I'll give peace in your land. And that's the joy of having a God that we can depend on. And when we come to the New Testament, even in times when distress is there, and that happened both in the Old Testament, because God's people weren't always faithful to him, and so we have the exile to Babylon, we have different conquerors coming through. And then in the New Testament it takes on that extra spiritual dimension when Jesus says, "My peace I give unto you. And he makes that promise just at a time when he is about to go through a trial, is about to be crucified in a most painful manner, to die for our sins, to give us newness of life in the resurrection, so that we can always have that security, not just for now, but for eternity. I'm really enjoying being here at St. Catherine's. I'm enjoying the peace and the quiet, even the disconnect from the internet and emails and social media, just for the period that I'm here, just to be able to focus more on things spiritual. But I'm thankful for the security, most of all, that comes not from high walls like this, but from a God that I can trust, that I can depend on at every stage of my life.